Hey everybody, how is it going? This is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me again today for this new episode of A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. On this podcast, we're talking about overcoming chronic sensations, chronic pain. This is called TMS, and it means that you have these sensations and these pains in the body, not because there's something wrong with your physical body or your tissues, but because your nervous system and brain are sending you the pain signal, although there's nothing going on. So these problems are coming from your heightened nervous system and brain, and there are tools that help you to overcome this pain. And the tools are not physical. The tools are not fixing, going from appointment to appointment, doing all the physical things. No, you have to change the way you think, you act, you live your life, and it has to come from a place of healing your nervous system, essentially. So this is part three of the four-part series that I'm doing right now. If you didn't check out the last two episodes, go ahead and check those out as well. So what this four-part series is about is identifying what is your biggest fear that is holding you back from starting more exercise and strength training if you have TMS. And I'm talking a lot about strength training because this is so important for, of course, everybody, but especially if you have TMS, this can be one of the tools that can truly empower you and help you to speed up your recovery. Not because you're going to fix some sort of muscle imbalance or muscle weakness, but because when you do strength training, you are becoming more empowered person. You're challenging yourself. You're showing your brain what you're capable of. You're showing your brain what you're made of. So this is so important, and you have to really get started with strength training. Like I think this is not even optional. This is a must. And of course, you get a lot of physical health benefits from it too. And go back to the first part of this series 2 episodes ago, where I talk about the physical health benefits that you get from just strength training and not from any other type of exercise. So what I have done is that I created a quiz that will help you to figure out what is your biggest fear when it comes to starting strength training. And you can find that quiz when you click the link in the show notes or in the YouTube description. And the same link is in my Instagram bio as well. So check out this quiz, take the quiz, answer these questions. And once you get your result, you're going to find out what is your biggest fear. So these are the fears that we have been going over on this podcast. And once you get your results, make sure that you go to the button you see, like after you get your result, you see this button, more details. So go click on that, and then you're gonna get a mini training that helps you to get started with overcoming this fear, because you have to overcome your fear. This is what TMS is about, overcoming your fears. So you're going to overcome your fear of exercise, and you're going to get help from that video. So definitely check it out. And if you then decide that I'm going to get started with strength training, I have to do this, then I have a fantastic program for you right now. This is a beginner level program called Train to Build Starter. And it is meant for total beginners, or for those who've had a long break since they last worked out and who have TMS or had recently had TMS, so they want to get back to exercise. So this program right now is on sale until September 22nd, and you can get a discount if you use the code September at checkout. So go ahead and do that. Now, today we're going to dive into the third fear that a lot of people who have TMS and want to get back to exercise are experiencing. So when you go back to the first part of the series, there we talked about this one fear that is, what if I'm going to make my TMS worse when I start exercising? So I'm offering some tools and some real life success stories. And then the second episode was about, okay, I don't want to repeat my past workout experiences that were bad. So when I do too much and too intense, so you find a real life experience there too. And today's episode, we're going to talk about perfectionism. Like if your main fear is this, I'm not going to be able to do the workouts perfectly, 100%, and I'm not going to get started at all. What are you going to do about that? Because this is a not a good thing at all. Like if you have this very perfectionist mindset, if you have these like unreasonably high expectations and you put so much pressure on yourself because you want to be able to do everything perfectly, this is actually one of the reasons why I have TMS. So you have probably had the same mindset in most areas of your life, right? It has to be like 100% and have to be perfect. I can't make a single mistake. So this is actually one of the things that caused you your TMS. So now if you want to take the same approach to your workouts, that's not going to go super well, because you know, you can also tell yourself, like, if I don't if I'm not able to be perfect, so I'm not going to get started at all. So now you're not going to get started at all. There's even no way that you get the benefits from strength training. So I want to help you to overcome this fear. But first, I want to describe to you what you might be thinking, what you might be feeling if you have this like very strong perfectionist tendency. And if your main fear is this, okay, I'm not going to start strength training because what if I can't do everything perfectly, 100%? Okay. So let me give you a couple of examples that may happen, like that you may come across when you start strength training. So, for example, you might be saying, if there's a day when I don't have the time for the full workout that was in the plan and I need to cut it short, I just can't handle it. So, like you get super angry with yourself and you beat yourself up about it because you were not perfect. You didn't do the full thing. You're like, I just can't live with myself, right? The other thing, let's say that you did get started with a workout and your workout plan said you got to do like 3 sets of 12 squats, but you're able to do just 10 because like after the 10th one, you're like, okay, I can't do anymore. Like I've given it my all, like my legs need a break, right? So you did 10 reps instead of 12, and now you will just like ruminate on it for hours. And maybe you text your trainer because you need like her reassurance that what you did was okay, and you just can't stop thinking about it, feel guilty about it. It's just like so much because your perfectionism is so strong in you. And it's really like, it's basically like putting you in prison. Like it's just so much and it's so strong. So you can't like do anything without even like the slightest like error. It's just like not okay in your world. And another example would be this. So let's say that you've been doing some squats and then, let's say that you use like 2 20-pound dumbbells and you do squats. And now there comes a week when you're like just feeling like you don't have that strength. I don't know. Something's up. You just don't feel like, highest energy or whatever. So you're like, oh, I can't use 20s, but I always use 20s. And oh my God, I have to go down to like 15 pounds. And you literally start thinking like, oh, am I going backwards now? And does it even make sense, or did I ruin everything, or is my all my progress gone right now? So you just like go spiraling like that, and you're just putting so much pressure on yourself about a thing that is just like could be a lot easier, right? You're just making like a whole big deal out of it, and it's not needed at all. And of course, if you are following a workout plan, you want to follow it for the most part, but it's normal to be okay if something happens, like if some change comes up, something in life happens that needs your attention, okay, then that's just fine. We're gonna have to soften a bit and modify if needed, but we can't be like so obsessive about it and now, not get started a workout plan at all because you might be thinking, oh, if I can't do it perfectly, it's not worth it. Yes, it is perfect. It is totally fine. It is worth it. So just like in the last 2 episodes, I want to give you a real life example from a person who really struggled with this as well. So here are her sensations. So just like before, I'm going to tell you what her TMS problems were, what was her main fear, how she overcame it, and how she's doing now. Okay, so these 4 things. The first thing is this. Her TMS sensations were dizziness, anxiety, insomnia, and digestive problems. So she had like alternating one day constipation, then could be diarrhea. It's like a mess. And then she also had some stomach cramping and she was like trying to eliminate all these foods. But as is the story for many of you too, like sometimes I've heard stories people have gone down to like 5 foods. That's all they could eat, nothing else. Everything would like irritate themselves. And then eventually they found out, oh, it was all TMS. There's nothing wrong with these foods. So she didn't have it like as extreme. She didn't have to like limit herself to 5 foods, but she did have these stomach issues that, and she was having this like diarrhea and constipation all the time. So her main fear when it comes to like starting a workout routine was this. I'm not sure if I can do the workout plan correctly enough. And what if I mess something up? What if my TMS gets worse one day and I need more breaks and I take a day off? Is it all lost then? Like she literally thought that from one shorter workout or like missed workout, is it all lost then? So she was so worried that I remember at first we even had this conversation. She asked like, okay, how long are my workouts going to be? And I said, first 20 minutes, later about 20, later about 40 minutes. And she said, oh, 40 minutes, like I don't have that. And I said, well, do you have 20 minutes? Because you could do 20 minutes, like you could split it up. You could do the 20-minute workouts like on separate days then instead of one 40-minute workout. And she said, yeah, that would work with my schedule, but it wouldn't be perfect because this is not how it was laid out originally. And like, this is the same workout. And she's like, no, but then it's not perfect. Well, however, she did get started, but at first there was a lot of worrying and the perfectionism really kicked in. So, for example, if she needed to take a day off because something came up, she felt like she's letting me down, like she's letting her coach down. And she felt like she has to like explain and apologize and tell me like what. But the truth is that she was trying to convince herself that what she did was not wrong because she felt so bad internally, right? When she was traveling overseas a couple of times and she was like jet lagged and she was like, "Oh, I'm just like so tired." And I said, "Sure, like you don't have to do that workout on the first day when you get to, from here to Europe where she used to fly, and you can skip that work. It's fine. Go to sleep, rest, right?" And she's like, "Oh, am I going backwards just because I missed a single workout?" I'm like, "No, you're not going backwards. Your body needed rest right now." So we had a lot of that going on. So eventually, she started definitely overcoming her fears, and you hear later how well she's been doing, but how she started overcoming her fears is that I just helped her to understand that strength training progress is not made in a day. And it's also not lost in a day. So I told her that she doesn't need my permission to take a day off when she needs it, or she can cut the workout a little shorter if she needs it for some reason. It's okay, right? Because most of the time she's like so consistent. So like every now and then when she needs like a little modification adjustment, it's okay, right? Drop the perfectionism. It's just not serving you. So she started trusting herself more when it came to making decisions, and she stopped needing her coach's reassurance every time she was not perfect, right? It was fine. And so, how is she doing now? Well, she's been very consistent with strength training for the past 11 months at this point. And she started with just body weight at first, but now she's using dumbbells. So she has moved on to the intermediate program. And she does 3 workouts most weeks, but there are weeks when she, doesn't, when that doesn't happen because sometimes, something comes up, life gets lifey. And the great thing is that she no longer asks my permission to take a break when she feels like she needs to do it, or if she like had to like drop the weight from like 15 to 10 or from 20 to 15, like she doesn't ask my permission anymore. And that's good. That's like getting independent, getting empowered, like trusting that I can make my own freaking decisions, right? And her confidence has increased tremendously. And her sensations, by the way, have not gone up at all. They have actually gotten better. So she's doing really, really great. She can do strength training, even though she has still some sensations going on. She can do it. She can do it. And she's gotten so much stronger. She is a lot more confident. So truthfully, like to me, like the confidence piece is like the greatest things, like so awesome to see like how she can now like make her own decisions, doesn't have to like text 700 people, ask their opinions. It's just like you change as a person when you start strength training. You change as a person and you become stronger and more confident, more like capable, more like believing, more trusting yourself. Isn't that super important? Instead of like asking everybody around you what should I do, you're like, no, I got this. I know this, right? So this has been a great, great win for her. And so if you're struggling with the same fear, or if this comes out as your quiz result that this perfectionism is your main fear, then I hope that today's story inspired you. So again, one more time, go ahead and take the quiz. It's a really short one. It's not going to take half of your day. So answer these questions there, get your results, check out the video that comes with your result. And then if you feel like you want to take the next step, you're like, okay, let's go. Like I'm done with like being so afraid of movement. I'm gonna get started with exercise. Go ahead and sign up for my Train to Build Starter program. Once again, you can find the link in the show notes. And also you can get $10 off if you use the code September at checkout. Okay, so we have one more part in this series that's going to be in the next podcast episode. So stay tuned for that. And I'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.